Hey everybody, today we're going to be working on the rear axle steps 8, 9, and 10. But before we do that, I made a mistake in the last video where I put these arms in the wrong direction. So we're going to correct that error first, and it's very simple. We don't have to take the whole thing apart. All we need to do is take these 3 screws off. Apologize for making that mistake. I simply read the manual wrong, and that happens. So after we take all these 3 screws off, it's really simple, and you want to try to hold on to the bottom. Try to hold on to the bottom of the diff cover so it doesn't come off. And all you have to do is lift this up. You can tilt it a little bit. Lift that up. Both arms come off. And now I'm going to flip these so the straight side of the arms point to the rear of the car. All right, and then I'm just going to slip that back in. Again, hold on to the cover here. And push that down. Try to squeeze it in there. And that's it. We're going to put the arm back and everything as well. There we go. This straight side is facing the back of the car. Okay, now we can move on to what we came here for today, which is the building the rear axles. The axle is only 3 parts, and it looks like this. The thinner side is the upper side, the top side, and the wider one is the lower side, the bottom side. And it's only 3 pieces. On here it's a little confusing because it says you can either use a C2 or the C7 depending on the wheelbase. But if you look in the box, only C2 is available, so that decision has been made for us already. And if you're using the plastic bushings that came with the kit, then you need to go ahead and grease this. But since I'm using bearings, I'm not going to. I'm going to do is place the bearing over the axles and push it all the way in. And just make sure the bearing is seated all the way flush with the upright. Okay. And I've already done it for this one. And as you can see, that's also flush. All right, let's move on to the bumper. Okay, the bumper is this piece right here. To me, it looks more like a skid plate. What it does, what it acts like, is more of a skid plate. I can see that since there's no urethane body in the back of the car usually. It can act as a rear bumper in case you get rear-ended, but mostly it would hit the Lexan body first, which is unfortunate. So this requires 5 screws, and they are these right here. You got two darker flatheads that go, they look like this, that go on top here. And you have three of these silver screws for the front. And these screws are very common. You should still have a lot of them left. Or so, yeah, you should still have some left. And it's still all in the same bag. So you don't need to crack open any bags yet. It's still in the A bag. I'm going to put those three in first. This can be done with a screwdriver as well. There we go. Extra quarter turn. Okay. All right. And that's it. That's installing the rear bumper. Okay. Now we're going to put the axles onto the body. First up, you might have seen that I had put the gearbox joints already in the chassis here. I took them back out so I can show you. All you do is put a little grease right here where there's contact with the gearbox. And you notice there's a flat end at the end of the shaft there. And if you look inside the gearbox, you shine some light on it. It is in fact slotted. So I got it on the first try. Let's try the other side. And I had to make a little quarter turn before I could fit that in there. So next step is to find the dog bones. I had already put a little bit of grease on there, but I think it smeared off. Let me put a little bit more. And I'm going to fit that in there. Both of the uprights are identical. So I'm just going to take one. Again, the wider side is the bottom. I'm going to make sure the dog bone fits in to the axle. It stands upright like that. There's a longer pin and a shorter pin. The longer pin goes on the bottom, and it's easy to work in, and the top. And then just go ahead and tighten this. All right. Here's the other dog bone. And the other axle. Again, wide side down. Sometimes you have to turn the axle or turn the dog bone to make sure they align properly. And the longer pin. And the short pin. There we go. And then the last part of today's video is quite important. It's the rear body post. If you look at it here carefully, you're going to see there's two sets, and you have to choose which one. It says attach body mounts B2 or B5 depending on the body you use. So if we go to the body set instructions, You'll see here in step 1, it tells us to use attach B5. So that's what I have cut off, and that's what I have here. Real simple. Just going to take these flathead silver screws and put that in there. There's a square here and indexes to the back of this piece. So there's no, you don't have to worry about it not being perpendicular to the chassis. Okay. And that's it. That was step 10. That finishes to everything we need to work on today. And in the next video, we're going to be working on the front arms, and we're going to be putting in these suspension balls. We're going to be building the front diff, and we've already done that before. We're going to build it again, and we're going to assemble the gearbox for the front, as well as mount the front arms. And you can see pretty much everything is just a duplicate of the rear. It's going to be super easy, and we'll continue the series. So if you enjoyed this video, you got something out of it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, turn on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next one.